Opposite trouble to quiet. Hey, looks good. Okay, my name is Owen. I'll be your tour guide today as we travel through one of the two front doors of the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. Look for all sorts of lovely life thriving in the African Savannah conservation. During this time, my primary responsibility is for your safety. So please do remain seated if the vehicle is moving in case I have to stop suddenly. Don't play with your doors or lean up against the doors. They won't support you. Don't throw any of your personal items overboard. I cannot stop to pick up lost stuff. And in case of medical emergency, press one of those yellow safety strips on the ceiling. That'll buzz me in the cab so I know to call the medics out here for you.
Wow.
This is good news, the end of our safety lecture. So
Than Animal Kingdom.
you can start looking for animals instead. That's usually a little bit more fun. There's going to be some great sneak peeks here over your left-hand shoulders. Got giraffes off in the distance, rhinos and antelope too. We're going to focus for the beginning of our tour over to the right, where if you look carefully you can find a cheetah. Look in front of us to the right for the small palm tree. Just behind that short palm tree over the ridge of grass, little brown and black spotted head poking up from the shadows. If you're still having trouble finding her, there's some people on the other side taking a picture of the cheetah. Just look where they were looking. Now the head sticking up, that is one of the smaller parts of the cheetah. Even by the standards of other big cats, they have a relatively small noggin. That's for better aerodynamics on their hunt. But it does mean that the cheetah therefore has difficulty bringing down big prey. Cheetahs cannot bring down prey bigger than about 100 pounds or so. So if you're on board today and you weigh more than 100 pounds, congratulations, you are immune to cheetahs. I did see we got a couple kids on board though. In your case, keep drinking your milk. We're going to move on to some animals who don't drink milk. Off to the right-hand side, birds. There's a number of beautiful bird species here. I'll focus primarily on the flamingos, as there are more than 100 of them scattered across the shallow waters. A species called the greater flamingo comes from the mainland coast of Africa. And living out in the open grasslands, the southern white rhino has to worry about predators such as lions, much larger than the cheetahs and capable of bringing down unfathomably large prey. The great size of the southern white rhinos will give them an advantage, as will traveling together in small groups from 2 to 10 individuals. After all, if your predator is going to be working as a team, you should be working as a team too. Animals here at the park feel at home, comfortable, and much more likely to thrive.
Yeah, so the recommendation is to have it surgically removed and fly out.
And the only caveat I have to warn you about, and it is a small problem, I promise, the animals are free to move around wherever they want within their big habitats. So just be aware, might be some animals where it's a little tricky to see them. And the zebra, unfortunately, I was kind of setting you out. They've been a little camera shy today. If you look off to the right and almost straight up in front of us into the pine tree forest, you might just catch a glimpse of black and white striped bottoms mooning you from out the pine trees. The zebra have probably been seeking cover from predators in the pine trees. I've tried to tell the zebra that there are no predators who live out with the prey here, but they don't believe me. Take the same precautions they would in the wild. Maybe no predators for the zebra, but off to your right, these birds are ferocious predators. If you're a fish, Dalmatian and great white pelicans from the coastlines of Africa use their big gular pouch to scoop out the fish, like a fisher with a net. Great white pelicans from the Atlantic and Indian Ocean coasts. Dalmatian pelicans from the Mediterranean Sea coast. Certainly got the attention of all the animals, as you can see up the hillsides there. Sable antelope with their dark brown coats looking back down, trying to figure what's going on. There's a number of giraffes up the hillside as well. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the giraffes right at the moment because they are all clustered around a feeding station. Ladies took off and left him behind.
And I'm thinking about signing her up for one at the end of like July.
But he can still use his terrific eyesight, his long neck. He knows where they are. And you can see him strolling on up to join them. Maybe a little pit stop in the shade, of course, cool down a bit before he finishes his trek.
That's a giraffe. That's a giraffe. What is that?
It's about 17 feet tall. He is the tallest giraffe at our park right now. That is, even by giraffe standards, pretty big. Most giraffes are 14 to 16 feet tall. 17 feet is not a record. The tallest giraffes on record have been over 18 feet tall. Sometimes you'll hear people say, oh yeah, giraffes, they're 18 feet tall. But you got to be careful with that. That would be a little bit like saying humans are 7 feet tall. You know, it happens. It's just not that common. Oh, there he goes, back on the move. Off to find the ladies. We'll wish him best of luck and hopefully see him again on the flip side when we're coming back in. Up the hill from him are some more antelope. You'll see the Hebsbok in particular with their big V-shaped horns. Just like with the giraffes, most of the herd is up the hillside, but we do have one Hebsbok who is much closer up to us, just on the other side of this big tall building. These are desert antelopes, which you can tell because of their relatively pale coloration. Paler colors help to reflect light and heat, keep them cooler on a day like today, as well as blending them into a sandy background. So with that little base of knowledge, look over to the right-hand side of the vehicle. Pale coloration, check. Sandy background, check. We got some more desert animals up here. The first one that has a bit more of a tan tinge to its top, that's a Someran's gazelle. Comes primarily from the deserts of Somalia and Ethiopia, as does the animal at the top of the hill, silver with the black striping on their legs, called Somali wild ass. Geography for these two animals unfortunately has been very unstable over the past few decades due to ongoing conflicts and wars on the Horn of Africa. And especially in the case of the Somali wild ass, that has led to a conservation disaster. There are today less than 300 Somali wild ass left in the entire world. Wars are horrific and devastating for people. Notice the more muted orangish coloration on their coat, different from the stark tans and browns of the deserts and grasslands. These are called red lechwe, and they come from the banks of the Zambezi River, southeastern Africa. Back to our left, meanwhile, these are not African animals. Got a whole bunch of cliff swallows zooming around. I don't know if I'd call them exactly Californian either. You can see they've flown out over the canyon there. Cliff swallows are migratory birds.
No alligators will bite your face off.
Spend about half the year with us here in California, the other half down south, southern Mexico and Central America.
Crocodile.
Like the warm weather, they build their nests underneath bridges and overhangs. Have their chicks born while they're here in California. for leading them south once the weather starts to turn. I always like getting to see the Californian animals as well as the African animals out here. It's good to remember California is a wild place too. Let's take a look over our left-hand shoulders here. It's a nice view of those zebra on the hillside we saw as we were climbing up over on the other end. These are the young males, the bachelor zebra. They've been kicked out of that herd we saw earlier. Zebra herds tend to be primarily matriarchal. It is the oldest and most experienced mares, who are in charge. Young stallions will hang out together with other fellas in the same situation. I should say, by the way, this is the zebra social organization, not ours. It's not like something we're imposing on them. That's just how they organize their societies in the wild. Down to the left, another marshland antelope here. Again, notice that nice rosy orange color, much like we saw with the lechwe earlier. These are called Uganda cob. The orange color tends to be very predominant in animals who live in wet, marshy areas because most mammal predators, including lions, are effectively red-green colorblind. So a lion or another big predator looking at those cob wouldn't see an orange antelope against a green background. They'd see, a grayish antelope against a grayish background. Now, we humans are actually somewhat unusual amongst mammals for our terrific color vision. We do much better than the average mammal. That's because humans and other primates eat a lot of fruit. Being able to tell whether fruit is red or green is an important evolutionary advantage. Us and our primate cousins have that ability. Antelope and lions, well, not so much. Got a couple antelope here as well as the buffalo. Don't worry if you can't see the buffalo too well. I'll get you a better view of them in just a minute. Wanted to make sure to say hello to the Hebsbalk here, as well as adding those two dark brown antelope with the little stubby horns. A pair of Nile lechwe. We met their cousins earlier, remember the red lechwe from the Zambezi River. Okay, for those buffalo, I'm going to swing just around this next corner here. Let that chain link fence drop out of our way. So we can get a nice clear view of the baby buffalo without having to squint. The baby buffalo that I see most clearly right next to that tree next to the road. Look just to the left of the tree next to the road. Little baby buffalo is standing up. Might lie down in the near future, so take a picture quickly if you're planning to. There's a couple other baby buffaloes scattered in various places throughout the herd, usually snuggled up next to their mothers. A little dark brown lump of fur on the ground. 5 baby buffalo in total. Like the zebra, the buffalo will be primarily matriarchal. The oldest and most experienced cows guiding the herds, protecting the babies, trying to lead them to the greenest pastures by going down the safest routes. And our route, as promised, leading directly to that herd of giraffes we saw earlier. They waited for us. I wasn't 100% sure they would, but I'm certainly happy they did. I'll focus in primarily on the giraffes first, and then we're going to expand our vision a little bit because there's also a lot of other cool stuff going on. But let's focus in on the giraffes first. Obviously, one of them is not an adult.
You see the baby?
I don't know if I'd call him a baby anymore, though. He's more of like a juvenile. A little bit over a year old, been weaned off of milk. Starting to explore the world a bit more on his own. Probably be very insulted if you still called him a baby. His mother and his aunts, meanwhile, gathered around what I call a magical tree. grows a new branch full of delicious leaves every single day. Okay, in addition to the giraffes, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff going on our right-hand side as well. I'm going to sneak forward maybe 5-10 feet here. There's deer, zebra, and cattle. Yes, I did say cattle, by the way, those animals with the long, thick horns. It's a breed of dairy cow, used primarily by traditional pastoral groups in Eastern Africa. Big, long, thick horns on them.
Yeah.
I know they don't look much like the Jerseys or the Holsteins that we see here in the States, but just like different breeds of dog look different, so do different breeds of cow. And yes, by the way, with this breed, bulls and cows both have horns. Zebra, meanwhile, this is a different herd than we saw earlier. Over your right-hand shoulders near the pepper tree by the big building. Those are the mountain zebra from the highlands of Angola and Namibia. The deer, meanwhile, a species called wapiti, come from Central Asia. Take note of that, by the way. Those are the first deer we've seen on this tour, and also one of the first animals we've seen that doesn't come from Africa. That is not a coincidence. The ecological niche that's filled by deer in most of the world is filled by antelope in Africa. We'll see some antelope on your left here. Shaggy brown waterbuck, big tan eland. Antelope and deer look very similar, but if you pop the hood and check their genetics, they're not closely related. Now, the antelope that you see here are much more closely related to those cattle than they are to the deer. Now, generally speaking, in a fully connected ecosystem, eventually one of the two would overtake the other, either antelope or deer, outcompete the other, and send them on the long road to extinction. But, rather unique little quirk of recent geography has rendered that effectively impossible, because deer and antelope are separated by the Sahara, Arabian, and Iranian deserts. A long stretch of inhospitable terrain that separates sub-Saharan Africa from Eurasia. The Sahara Desert is approximately 7 million years old. Deer and antelope in the fossil record are only 2 to 4 million years old. They're relatively youngins in biological terms. So because of that, if you ever want to make your friends think you're really smart, just remember, if it looks like a deer that comes from Africa, it's like a 99% chance it's an antelope. Correct them at parties. It'll make you super popular. Unfortunately, our time together is starting to draw to a close. We do have a couple more beautiful antelope to see before we're done. And since we did just talk so much about antelope, I'd like to spend a moment or two talking about how important they are. Because things like the Thompson's gazelle with their black racing stripes and white bellies, or the fringe-eared oryx with their big V-shaped horns, you know, these aren't household names necessarily, the way that like rhino or giraffe is. Because they're not famous and popular, people can sometimes think therefore antelope are unimportant. When in reality, they are the ones supporting the majority of the ecosystem. Antelope are the ones who are numerous enough and ubiquitous enough to carry seeds in their fur, deposit those seeds over wide areas, fertilize the seeds with their waste, help keep all the other herbivores fed. I'll also, of course, put protein into the bellies of predators. Now, I'm not saying you need to make antelope your new favorite animals. You know, giraffes and rhinos certainly perfectly viable picks as well. Just make sure that you know, look at antelope with the same respect and understanding that you afford to their more popular cousins.
I see. I saw them.
I have a feeling I can trust you all on that. After all, you are already allies for conservation just by being here today. The park is a non-profit organization. Money you spend here goes back toward our animals and back toward our conservation efforts. In Africa, California, all around the world. I do have to drop you off, I'm afraid, back at the station here. Have you exit once we come to a full and complete stop. You've all been to amusement parks before, you know what that is. Once we stop, we will exit on the right-hand side only, which you'll notice is the side toward the station, not the side into the active roadway. Gates to get out found at the cab. My name is Owen. Find me there too to answer questions. Have a lovely rest of your day. Let yourselves out by reaching over your station side door.